This is my city, my home. It might be your city, or like yours, where law-abiding citizens go about their business of working and providing good homes for their loved ones, and where destructive forces of crime and evil are also at work. In one way or another, we're all enmeshed by crime. We're either on the side of law and order or against it. We're all in the battle between good and evil.
Mr. Kennedy, I might have been followed here.
Aren't you unduly alarmed, Miss Gray?
Perhaps. But you don't know what it does to a girl to be looking over her shoulder expecting something terrible to happen at any instant.
You still haven't told me what you're afraid of and why you haven't called the police.
Oh, but I couldn't go to the police. If this story leaks out, the publicity will cost me the leading role I'm up for. But that isn't my chief concern. You see, my former husband is very vindictive, and I'm afraid for myself and my fiancé, a friend of yours, Mr. Kennedy.
A friend of mine?
Yes, Dr. Everett Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong, the dietician?
Yes.
He didn't tell me he was engaged.
Well, it's supposed to be a secret, but somebody found out and told my former husband, and he's threatened us both.
I'll do what I can to protect you and the doctor, Miss Gray, without adverse publicity.
Everett told me you'd understand. I already feel as if a weight had been lifted off my mind.
Hi, Craig.
Oh, hello, Walt.
Oh, hello, Miss Gray.
I'm glad you called, Miss Gray.
Good day, Mr. Kennedy.
What a brush off.
Was she glad to see you?
That's what I get for being a good newspaper man. I reviewed her last show.
Yes,
and,
yes, I read it. What did you call it?
A flopperoo. I only told the truth. Huh? What a business.
You should try being a criminologist.
Not a bad idea if I had clients like Wilma Gray.
But I don't always have beautiful girls for clients, Walt.
But I would.
Yes, I know.
What was she doing here anyway?
Oh, the usual thing. Trouble with an ex-husband. Kennedy talking. Oh, yes, Inspector.
I got bad news for you. A friend of yours was found murdered. The famous dietitian, Dr. Armstrong.
No. Not Dr. Everett Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong's body was found there. As far as I'm concerned, that vase is the murder weapon.
A cloisonne. Why didn't your boys take it in for examination, Inspector?
I wanted you to see it first. Besides, I figured you'd like to work on it in your own lab.
Yes, I would. Where's Walt?
In the outer office, interviewing Miss Roget.
Your first name is Jean?
Jean, that's right.
Brunette, beautiful, about 24. What did you say your phone number is? Now, let's see, Miss Roget. You said you found the body when you came to work this morning, then called the police. Are you sure you aren't holding back something?
Yes, Mr. Jameson. My phone number.
Looks like your junior criminologist is already flunked out.
Yes, Inspector. Miss Roget, I know you've been through an ordeal, but you wouldn't object to going over a few more details, would you?
I don't mind, Mr. Kennedy. Not if it will help bring Everett's murderer to justice.
Everett?
Yes, Inspector.
Just what happened here yesterday afternoon?
Nothing, really. I left here at 5 o'clock and went home to dress. Everett was to pick me up at 8.
Were you going out on a case?
We had a date for 8 o'clock. He didn't keep his appointment. I couldn't reach him over the phone here or at his apartment. You're bound to find it out sooner or later. Everett and I were engaged to be married.
This story gets better all the time.
We had such exciting plans. After the sale of the formula, we're going to travel all over the world. It would have made him rich, you know.
Yes, I know. Tell me, Miss Roget, was there anything between the doctor and Wilma Gray?
Absolutely nothing.
That's strange. She told me she was engaged to the doctor.
She was not. 6 months ago, she came here to be put on a diet. They did go together for a while, but only yesterday asked her to please stop bothering him.
Two very lovely young ladies after the scalp of a highly respected doctor, about to become very wealthy. That adds up to jealousy. There's your motive, Inspector.
You know something, Nosy? The police force needs a bright boy like you. Go on, Kennedy.
What do you know about Tom Workman, Wilma Gray's ex-husband?
Only that he threatened Everett over the phone.
Did Workman ever come up here?
Not that I know of.
Kennedy, what about the food formula? I'd like to know more about that angle.
Actually, there were two people in that deal. Dr. Armstrong and a promoter named Peter Allen. Dr. Armstrong phoned me last week and asked me to come over.
I suppose you're wondering why I asked you to come over.
Well, that's putting it mildly, Everett. What's it all about?
You had lunch yet?
No, not yet.
Here, have lunch on me.
So that's what you've been working on. A concentrated food formula.
Yes. When it's perfected, each capsule will contain a full meal, complete with vitamins.
What? No steak, French fried potatoes, and salad?
Seriously, Craig, I'm at the threshold of a tremendous achievement. These capsules can be used for dietary control, for emergency rations, for medicinal purposes. But I'm having trouble with Alan, my partner. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Yes, Jean?
Mr. Allen is here, Dr. Armstrong. He insists on seeing you.
You'll have to wait.
What is this, Armstrong? I want to see you right now.
I'd better go.
No, I want you to stay, Craig.
What do you mean trying to stall me?
Mr. Kennedy, my financial backer, Peter Allen.
How do you do?
Hello. I want to talk to you, Armstrong. Alone.
Mr. Kennedy's a friend of mine. Go ahead and talk.
All right, I will. I've got $12,000 in this deal, and we can get rich by selling right now, but you refuse. Why?
Because the formula isn't perfected yet. I refuse to put anything on the market unless I'm absolutely sure it'll be beneficial. That was the agreement we signed. Now get out and stay out. Understand?
Sure. I'll get out, but I'll be back.
And that's the last time I saw Dr. Armstrong alive.
There's another motive to add to your list, bright boy.
Thank you, Inspector.
And while you're writing, put down that the formula is missing. You're welcome.
Miss Roget, does Peter Allen have a key to this office?
Not that I know of.
Naturally, you knew where the doctor kept the formula.
Of course. But there wasn't any reason for me to steal it. We were engaged.
Wilma Gray?
Yes. Mr. Kennedy, this is a terrible thing. What I feared has happened.
Yes, too bad you didn't contact me sooner. This is Inspector Burke, who sent for you.
How do you do?
Would you sit down?
Thank you. Poor Everett. He was so wonderful. He had so much to live for. When I think of all we had planned to do and the formula was sold,
Plans with you?
Yes. Why not?
That's absurd.
Well, naturally, the doctor wouldn't confide everything to you.
He did tell me to say he was out when you called.
I knew you had designs on Everett. I never thought you'd let your jealousy carry you away.
Why should I let my jealousy carry me away? He was going to marry me.
Was he? Everett gave me this engagement ring. You're not wearing one.
I can't believe it.
Miss Gray, when did you last see Dr. Armstrong?
Why, yesterday. We had lunch together.
When did you last see your ex-husband, Tom Workman?
Why, it was also yesterday. Tom came to my home. We got into an awful quarrel.
Miss Gray, do you think your ex-husband killed Dr. Armstrong?
Oh, I don't want to accuse Tom. Of course, he is quick-tempered. But to say he committed murder... Besides, there are others who could have done it.
Meaning me, Miss Gray?
Well, jealousy is a strong motive, and it works for both sexes. Or didn't you know that, my dear?
Do I have to take that from her, Inspector?
Take it easy, Miss Roget. That'll be all for now, Miss Gray.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Oh, by the way, Miss Gray, do you have a picture of your ex-husband?
For you?
Yeah.
Say, that's a good idea. We could use one, too. It'll help us pick him up.
All right, Inspector.
Good, I'll drive you over right now, okay?
Okay by me.
I'll try to get back without my eyes clawed out.
Inspector Blake?
No.
Which one's the inspector?
Right behind you, son.
I'm the inspector.
I'm Jack Priester, the night elevator operator. I come on duty at 4 and I quit at 12. I'm the only one on after 6. The building manager said you want to see me about Dr. Armstrong.
That's right.
It was bound to happen sooner or later.
Meaning?
Any guy who plays one babe against another is bound to end up on a marble slab.
Dr. Armstrong did nothing of the kind.
I know better.
You know too much for your own good.
And for your good, too.
Evidently, you two aren't especially fond of each other.
He's just a fresh guy, and he's so because I wouldn't date him.
Did you bring anyone up to this floor last night about 7 o'clock, maybe a little later?
I sure did.
Man or woman?
It was a man. Guy about 35. What you're hiding, mister? He had on a gray felt hat and a dark suit. Brown, I think it was. Want to know if he was nervous?
Go ahead. Tell us.
All right. So I will. He was.
That description doesn't fit Pete Allen.
Nah, I know, Ellen. He was mixed up in that formula stuff with the doc. This was another guy altogether.
Could have been workman.
I don't know anybody by that name. But when the guy stepped out of the elevator, I noticed him walk up to this door. And he kind of hung back like he wanted me to beat it. And what do you think I did, Inspector?
You beat it.
Yeah, how'd you guess?
I did it with my crystal ball. But what happened after you beat it?
Well, I took my car down to the main floor. Say, come to think of it, I never took the guy down. He must have stayed up here.
How about the stairway?
Well, there's a door across it on the ground floor, but that can be opened from the inside. He must have beat it when I made one of my trips.
That's all I want. How about you?
Yeah, anything you want to know?
No, I think you told us enough.
Here, take a fresh stick of gum.
Hey, thanks, Inspector. You're okay. Have a cigar.
Thanks. And don't leave town. We may need more of your expert help.
Call on me anytime.
What a character.
Don't let him fool you. He's dumb like a fox.
You can wait in here, Mr. Jameson. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you. Boy, what a dish. Huh? Back so soon?
What are you doing here?
I might ask you the same thing.
You might.
Tom, what are you doing here?
Who is this guy?
That's my business. Now get out before I phone for the police. They're looking for you, you know.
So they're trying to pin Armstrong's murder on me.
Oh, well, they suspect everybody.
And you'd like me to be the #1 suspect. Well, let me tell you something, baby. You're not getting rid of me that easy. I'll be watching you every minute, so don't think you can get away with anything.
You haven't any hold on me.
I wouldn't bank on that. I'm still paying for this layout.
Only because of a court order. Now get out.
Thank you, Miss Roget. I suppose you'd like to leave now?
Yes, Mr. Kennedy. May I take my personal belongings home?
I think that'll be all right. We'll call you if we need any more information.
Mr. Allen.
Have all the police left?
Yes?
All right, Gene, hand over the formula.
I don't know where it is. Not even the police could find it.
All right, what did you do with it?
I told you I don't know where it is.
Now, don't hand me that. You know where every fly speck is in this place. All right, in the lab. Half of that formula still belongs to me, and I'm not waiting for it any longer. All right, Kennedy, come out with your hands up or I'll let her have it. You heard what I said. Come out, Kennedy.
This isn't going to help you, Allen.
I don't need help. I'll do all right by myself. Now hand over that formula.
You don't really think I have the formula.
One of you has it, and I'm going to get it if I have to plug... No, you don't.
Operator, give me police headquarters.
Hang up that phone. That's what you get for trying to call the police.
Are you all right, Mr. Kennedy?
I guess so.
Well,
Want me to tell you something?
if you don't mind, Mr. Fraser.
After careful consideration and weighing all the evidence, I'd say that's the guy. The guy I took up on the elevator that night.
Now, you sure he didn't ride down with you?
Well, sure, I'm sure, Inspector. I'd know him anywhere.
Thanks, that's all I want to know.
You know, gents, I got a theory about this case. As I see it...
Yes, thanks again, Mr. Priester.
You're welcome, Inspector. Glad to help at any time. Call me when you're getting another jam.
He will.
Haven't smoked that cigar yet I gave you, huh?
I'm saving your smoke for a special occasion. But if you're short and want it back...
No, this is good for another hour. Besides, I gave it to you.
Yes, well, thanks. Now, I've got a lot of work to do, and if you...
Okay, you don't have to give me the rush act. I know when I ought to leave.
Goodbye, Mr. Priestley.
Call him when I get in another jam. Sounds like you, bright boy.
I could use a fresh smoke, Inspector.
Never mind.
Tightwad.
Okay, Nosy. Here you are. Smoke it.
Ah, thank you, sir.
That's what you get for being greedy, Jameson. I had a hunch about that cigar. Hello, Kennedy.
Yes, Inspector. The vase proved very interesting. Oh, the elevator operator definitely identified Workman's picture, huh?
Yeah. I'll be right over. Well, okay, don't just stand there. Say something.
Okay, I'll say something. Now I got two guys to get even with. You for the cigar and Workman for that sock on the jaw.
So you think the ex-husband's the guilty man?
Yes. That is, maybe.
What about the other suspects? Allen, Wilma Gray, and Jean Roget.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Inspector. We can't overlook the jealousy between the two women, but I don't know about that guy, Allen.
Why, bright boy?
Because if he murdered Dr. Armstrong, he wouldn't come back looking for the formula. He'd stay away until the investigation was over. See?
On the contrary, Allen did the very thing a clever criminal would do by returning to the scene of the crime.
You took the words...
right out of my mouth. Come on.
But on the other hand, Inspector, let us consider all the motives.
Okay, junior criminologist. Too bad you encouraged him, Kennedy. He's been pounding my ear.
What's so interesting about that vase?
Vase.
I found only the fingerprints of Dr. Armstrong.
That's not interesting, Kennedy. It's disappointing.
But I found two other things. Number one, blood. Dr. Armstrong's. Number two, a few tiny particles of green suede in the inlay work.
Green suede?
Yes, the type used in women's gloves. Kennedy talking. Hold on. It's your office.
Burke speaking. Good. Book 'em and fingerprint 'em. We got Allen and Workman.
Well, it looks like you can forget those two gentlemen, Inspector.
Don't make any flash deductions, Walt. Men can use women's gloves, too.
You mean someone wearing green suede gloves hit Dr. Armstrong with that,
vase?
That's a pretty good guess, Walt. I just remembered something.
Yeah? What is it?
Come along and find out.
Afraid you're stuck with his company, Kennedy. I gotta get back to my office.
This is where the formula was kept.
So?
Walt, I think whoever wore those gloves came to this filing cabinet for the formula.
There are no gloves there. We drew another blank, Craig.
Wait a minute. Having no further use for those gloves, they were thrown carelessly in the back of the drawer. There we are, Walt. And there's where it frayed on the vase.
Oh, I did go up to Armstrong's office, and it was about 7 o'clock.
Why did you want to see him?
I wanted to have a showdown with him about Wilma.
Well, did you have the showdown?
Well, Mr. Workman, did you?
No.
Please go on.
Well, when I got there, I found the door unlocked, so I went inside. I saw he was dead and got out of there fast.
Why didn't you call the police?
Do you think I'm a fool? Everybody knew I hated him.
Did you take the elevator down?
I used the stairs. I didn't want the elevator boy to get another look at me.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, you threatened Dr. Armstrong in my presence.
That's right.
You also threatened Miss Roget.
That's right.
You'd have more to gain from the formula than anyone.
That's right. Over $1 million. Now prove that I killed Dr. Armstrong. Take it easy, Allen. We'll prove who the murderer is. Miss Gray,
Workmen imply that if it weren't for Dr. Armstrong, you two might have remarried.
That's not true.
That's what I thought, or you would have mentioned it to Mr. Kennedy when you came up here to see him.
You came up here to see Kennedy?
Yes, to ask his help. You threatened me and Dr. Armstrong.
You'd like to see this pinned on me, wouldn't you? But I didn't do it.
Craig Kennedy's office. Yeah, this is Burke. I see. Okay, fine. Thanks. That's just the information we need.
Miss Gray, would you try this glove on for me, please?
Why, certainly, Mr. Kennedy. It's much too large.
Thank you. Now it's your turn, Mr. Allen.
If you ask me, this is a lot of nonsense.
We don't want your opinion. Put it on.
All right, if you insist. It isn't a very good fit.
Miss Roget?
I don't have to try it on, Mr. Kennedy. It's mine.
I know. We traced the gloves to you through the cleaner's code number. They were delivered to you the day before yesterday.
I thought I'd lost them. Where did you find them?
In Dr. Armstrong's laboratory. This cloisonné vase was used to kill Dr. Armstrong. And we have definite proof the murderer wore these gloves, Miss Roget.
I didn't kill Everett. I loved him.
The fingerprint on the button of this glove, which I didn't pass around, points to the murderer, Miss Roget. Miss Gray, when the inspector questioned you earlier today, why didn't you tell him that you were with Dr. Armstrong last night? We have a witness who saw you leave Dr. Armstrong's building about 6:30.
All right. I was afraid to tell you. I was with him about an hour or so. I was even at Miss Roget's desk. I remember I admired her gloves and tried them on.
That's a clever way of accounting for your fingerprint on the button, Miss Gray, but it's not good enough. We have other evidence. The engagement ring you bought for yourself at Standard Jewelers. And this information. You rented a safe deposit box 2 days ago under the name of Mary Evans.
And my boys opened it under a court order. Found $10,000 in cash in Dr. Armstrong's formula file.
You lied. You told me you didn't kill him and that you didn't get the formula.
Then you gave her the $10,000.
Yes. But it was strictly a business deal. Murder wasn't in the bargain. She told me she'd get the doctor to turn the formula over to me. When she delivered it, I was going to give her another $10,000. But she double-crossed me.
She couldn't tell you she had the formula. It would be an admission of murder. Well, Miss Gray?
I didn't mean to kill him. I only intended to get the formula. But he told me to get out. Then I went to Miss Roget's desk to call a cab and saw the gloves there and I don't know what came over me then. I went back to the lab where he was working. The vase was there. You know the rest.
All right. The rest of you can go. Come with me, Miss Gray.
I suppose I can carry on with the sale of the formula, Mr. Kennedy.
I hardly think so.
Why not?
It's not perfected yet and can't possibly be commercialized in its present state.
Besides, don't forget, you still face a charge of assault with a deadly weapon. That right, Craig?
That's right. And so ends the case of formula for murder.